Hey, welcome back to Chatting with Chet. I'm really excited today. Dana Gardner is here with us. We spent a full day here in D.C. Dana, what really stuck out with you from the show today?
Well, it was a very interesting set of use cases and speakers, focused a lot on the U.S. government, big public sector crowd listening as well as presenting. What was particularly interesting to me, however, Chet, was as people were talking about robotics and process, that they were mindful not only of a tactical benefit of how to solve today's problems, get through the next quarter or the next month, but they're also very mindful of the strategic implications of what they were doing, that they were setting in motion more of a digital transformation endgame. And a lot of times you talk to people either in business or technology, and they're sort of one or the other. They're either tactical thinkers or they're strategic thinkers, but these are people who are really aware that what they're doing is going to have an immediate effect and a strong ROI, but is going to put them in a very advantageous position when it comes to artificial intelligence, data management, process efficiency, and helping out on the bottom line if they're in the private sector, and better serving the taxpayer in the public sector.
Yeah, so with it being in D.C. and it being a heavy government crowd, I caught that same thing, and it wasn't just one speaker that was being both tactical and strategic. It was speaker after speaker after speaker, and one of the things that the public at large needs to understand is that RPA is a culmination of all of those things. But when you do those tactical things correctly and you keep that strategic vision in mind, that this is one of the few cases where you can actually affect not only the bottom line, but the process at large. So kind of tease it out for me a little bit and see, where do you think it's going with this sector?
Sure. People are seeing that they have human resources issues, so they want to make the most of the people they have now. They want to free them up from doing manual, rote, unproductive, even unpleasant types of tasks, and get them into the realm of data analysis, being innovative, understanding the process, and then enabling the machines to do better at what should be something that's fairly straightforward. They're also mindful about what the next generation of workers is going to be and trying to make things attractive for them. They also recognize that reskilling people and retraining is only part of the process. They actually have to reinvent the business itself. So there was that whole people part of it. There was also looking at the data issues of recognizing that data can't just exist in a form that serves one master. It has to serve many masters. And making your data highly valuable, again, tactically and then strategically, very important. And the wonderful thing about RPA is that you can use it to get at more data, and then you can use that data to reinforce and improve on the RPA and the general business processes as well. So the data issue is prominent, the labor and skills issue is prominent, and also thinking about artificial intelligence and what the next stage of that evolution is going to be.
Right, and I think that evolution is coming quickly. I think that all of the growth and all of the gains that have come through RPA in these last 12 months, I think that they are going to pale in comparison to what we see over the next 12 and 18 months as some of those AI components start to come online. How far out do you see before that we're going to have a meaningful AI interactions inside either the government or in the private sector?
Yeah, so another thing, we had a mix of public and private sector folks here, most of them in the public sector, and all of them would agree that the private sector people are a little bit further out. Something like an Uber, for example, is dabbling in this at that AI level. Other people are still trying to get their process in order, codify information in a format that can be driven into a robotic process automation environment. So to me, the interesting thing about it is that these are self-reinforcing in the private sector or the public sector, and whether your taskmaster is Wall Street or the taxpayer at large, the same effect is at work. So one of the things that they all seem to be very confident about is that there's an economic case, but there's a productivity case which is actually quite more difficult to measure and amplify and use as a proof point. But the productivity was there because they were able to do things that they just couldn't do before. And while it's hard to prove a negative, it's easy to prove something that's entirely innovative and allows you to do things that you couldn't. So what we're seeing is the development of RPA opportunities in one part of the company, cross-pollinating we're getting into others.
Yes, sir.
So whether it's in a procurement environment, it certainly then leads to more business, line of business, back office types of functionality, more types of data and disparate processes, probably as a result of the fact that they're using more SaaS, different cloud providers, and that's great, but it leaves you with this disjointed situation where how do I take a loosely coupled app in one realm of business and make it work in some process efficiency with another? Well, it's got to be processed, and then you want to automate it. But that gets us to some of the other use cases. And to me, the information technology people are in a great position because they're learning more about RPA. They're learning more about the data implications and the artificial intelligence implications. But for me, they have the same problems running their systems, running the data centers themselves, dealing with cross multi-cloud environments, getting data feeds, whether it's APIs or other more structured feeds that they have to manage, and they've got fewer people. So some of the major benefits of RPA, I think, are right there in the heart of the IT organization.
Right.
What's another multiplier, though, is that the more efficient and capable the IT people get with this, the more they can take it out to the larger organization, make themselves more valuable, solve some of their skills and talent demand issues, and provide a foundation for better data and intelligence.
Now, I would agree. Once the IT guys really, and I'm talking about the hardcore IT guys, so anytime you're doing RPA inside of an organization, it's a marriage between the business and IT. You know, they're always going to be the ones that take care of the infrastructure. They're always going to be the ones that have that deep support because they have production access. But what's really ringing in my ears is when those hardcore IT folks really embrace this and start applying it to their day-to-day work. Yes. I think that you're looking at a real multiplier on the back end, and that's something that could be consumed by every customer, whether they be public, whether they be private. The other thing that I'm really excited about that you bring up is reusable components. So once you crack that problem over in controllership, if you have to access this system or that system, those are completely reusable in finance and in sales and in shared services, and not a lot of people get that right off. That's a great call on. If we do the work today, and we do meaningful work today, we can apply that meaningful work across the organization. Mm-hmm. And I think those are great. That coupled with the IT, I think that the future is bright. So if you're going to make a prediction, what do you see as the biggest win on the horizon, or what are you really looking forward to see come into reality that's out there?
Yeah, so taking a step and leap forward on the strategic side of things, we've been talking about artificial intelligence and data and analytics for quite a while on the side of the house where we're bringing just data and information, so structured and unstructured, right, making our databases elevate to a warehouse that can then be analyzed, taking that analysis and extending it in real time or with latency depending on the requirements, and that's all well and good, and we're fairly mature in that. At the same time, we're now seeing all of this welling of innovation in the space for process innovation, codifying that, developing better documentation as a result, learning more about our processes and fixing issues along the way, because the machine will tell you when the people side of the equation isn't working. But now we're also starting to analyze that and take more analytics and AI. Well, when do these two pillars of information, data and information-driven analytics and AI, and process and efficiency and procedure AI meet? Yeah. And when they do, I think we're going to see some extraordinary results because they reinforce each other. The better data you can bring to a context of a process, the better the process becomes. Right. And the better the process efficiency relates back to say, here's the analytics that we need next, here's the insights that we want in order to promote the business objectives, the better. So I'm looking forward to a time in the not too distant future when we don't talk about AI here and AI there, we're talking about AI everywhere.
Right. No, I agree. I absolutely, when those two things come together, and we start having the AI fuel the building of the bots, and the bots get smart enough that they understand that the system has changes and they change themselves as we move forward. The other big thing that I'm looking forward to is the hive mentality. When all those bots that sit in the AI fabric communicate with each other. And as things change and as volumes change, that it notifies, that it provides good information for those AI engines to start making some calls. Yeah. And I'm going to be excited to see those calls because the first few that come in may be right, may be wrong. But those are the ones that are really going to leap us forward as we start to get into that.
More levels of inference, being more prescriptive, waiting for the analysis to then instruct rather than simply measure what's been going on.
Right. Dana, I've got one more question for you. We hear this digital transformation, and I've been hearing that for close to 2 decades. You know, cloud didn't do it, mobile didn't do it. They were all parts of it. They all got us anxious about it. Do you believe that RPA could be the catalyst that brings that digital workforce into reality?
Well, Chet, I certainly see it as an accelerant, and we're getting to the point where the planets are lining up such that we'll start to see some serious productivity, and not just repaving of cow paths, but doing things that, as I said before, just couldn't be done any other way.
Right.
In fact, we heard some speakers today say, why would you do RPA? They said, because you have no choice. It's the only way you're going to be able to progress in your objectives with the workforce, with the budgets that you have. Now, I don't think digital transformation is outdated. I think it's the right term.
Oh, absolutely.
But what's been a ceiling that organizations have bumped up against time and again, it's the culture, the people, and the behavior. You give them better tools, you give them better information, but if they don't change their mindset, their culture, and their behavior, then the true benefits of a transformation don't occur.
That's right.
So the cloud has been a catalyst. RPA is going to be a catalyst. What needs to happen, though, is for people to understand that putting the right emphasis on the machines, letting them do what they do, in this case a bot, recognizing that analytics is not just telling you what's happened in the past, but will tell you what to do in the future.
Right.
Thinking about being a truly intelligent organization and applying analytics every step of the way, and the fact that we're also into the IIoT and IoT realm, where we're going to get more and more information from more places. I think those are all coming together that makes it inevitable that we're going to see a true digital transformation. And the companies that do this well, the public sector departments and organizations that do this well, will have such an advantage that they will bury the competition, or they will just outstrip the rest of them. And it's then inevitable for them to repeat what's so successful elsewhere.
So it's going to be a pretty definitive line. You're either going to be leading or you're going to be chasing.
Yes, and if you've got a better AI culture, if you've got a better process efficiency culture, you are really going to be in an advantageous position.
And so, just as important as the technology used is maybe more important is the mindset that you cultivate inside your organization. Yes. This is an automation first era. This is an AI first era. This is bring the information to the machine, let it give us back some feedback. Let's make those adjustments. But none of those things happen unless the humans get involved. So one of the things that I always talk about when we look at analytics, it's reactive. We live off of dashboards. It's like driving and looking in the rearview mirror. You mentioned predictive. They need to tell us where we're going. More importantly, they need to be prescriptive. They need to tell us what we need to change now to be where we want to be in the future. So once again, Dana, thanks for coming. Enjoyed having you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.